and I remember to record. So here we are. We're at It Matters, August, what is this, 1st? Yeah, August 1st, right? Yes, okay. And we're going to introduce Dale McBroom. Brother Dale does, I don't even know what all he does. He's a media specialist. He does a lot of the marketing media that you see for Dollywood on the professional side, as well as a host of other businesses. He is a media specialist at FAC. He is intimately entwined with the other departments that handle different aspects of media. Dale's right in the middle of all that. And so I'm just going to give him the floor right now. This is Brother Dale McBroom. So you go ahead, Dale, and take it away.
Hey, thank you, Brother Spencer. I appreciate you asking me to come and talk about something that I'm really passionate about. I love media. I love design. I love being able to use technology to further the kingdom for sure. I'll try to go through this quickly. Stop me at any time if you have any questions, and I'll have questions at the end. But what I want to really talk about today is taking your media to the next level. And this is something that any church can do, no matter what size, no matter what skill level. There's always something that we can do to improve our media. Again, my name is Dale McBroom. You can take my email address down, dale.mcbroom@me.com, or call me or shoot me a text at 865-924-3253, and I will get back with you. But yeah, call me anytime if you have questions, or shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get it answered for you. Here's some of the places that I currently work with or worked with in the past as far as media and design go. I'm a freelance designer, and Dollywood's one of my biggest clients that I work with right now, which is a whole lot of fun. It's a Christian company. They, I appreciate their values, and I appreciate, their design and what they're doing in the community. So it's a whole lot of fun. They give me a lot of leeway and the stuff that I get to do with them. So, and there's just a few others that I've worked with, ALJC, UPCI, Harlem Globetrotters, which has been fun, and just a host of others. So our agenda for tonight, and again, I won't keep it long, and I'll give you a chance to answer questions, but I want to talk about the importance of multimedia in a modern apostolic worship service and why that's important. I want to talk about multimedia best practices. This is mainly for your volunteers, your media people, people who run lyrics and stuff like that, some best practices that they can use. And then talking about probably one of the biggest questions I get asked is, okay, how can we improve our media? How can we upgrade what we have without spending a lot of money? And so that's what I want to kind of help push you all in the right direction on that as well. How can we get the best out of what we can do? So start with the importance of multimedia in a modern apostolic worship service. I've always had this conversation. I believe that if Paul were alive today, he would be over a multimedia tech department, because our multimedia department, tech department, has allowed us to reach so many people in our community and around the world. The top 3 reasons to have multimedia in your service: number 1 is guests, number 2 is your guests, and number 3 is your guests. Multimedia in your service, they're not visitors, they're guests. We want them to feel welcome. Having multimedia is a huge way to make your guests feel comfortable. So one of the ways is guests is information. They get to your church, never been there before, kind of nervous. They've heard about apostolic, they've heard about Pentecostal, what are they about? Having good information on your media announcements, pastoral information, just stuff that's rolling before service would be a good way to help your guests know what's happening. Maybe, mute your cell phone, meet us for coffee after service, whatever. A lot of information. There's a lot of real estate there that you can use to make your guests informed. Guest involvement. This is huge. So a Pentecostal worship service, as you know, is not like any other church that someone's probably been to. And one of the ways is through our music and singing. and more than likely, they probably don't know the songs if they're not churched people. One of the ways to make them feel comfortable is by having your lyrics on the screen. So they can sing. Most of our songs are repetitive. They know we're going to a verse or a chorus, and they will pick it up. So by having lyrics on the screen, multimedia is huge, and will allow them to learn the song and actually get into worship and help, again, not feel so out of place. The last thing is guest knowledge. This is more in preaching. Again, you have guests and visitors that come in and they've heard about apostolic. Their family has told them that we're a cult, we're weird, we're just out there. But when you're preaching and having verses and scriptures on the screen while you're preaching, and they can say, "Hey, look, I see that. That's there. I've heard it so many times. He's preaching right out of the Bible. That's the Bible." When we do our webcast, we put our scriptures on the screen, and people have commented on our Facebook, "Hey, I see this. This is the Bible. This is what they're preaching." So that's why I think it's very important to have multimedia in the service. And these are three big ways that your guests, their souls, and it's a comfort and also a good way that we can inform them. 1 Corinthians 9:19-23, Paul is basically saying that he wants to become all things to all men so that he can win them. I did have several years ago a gentleman. We were just upgraded our media. We had some new tiles. They were kind of flashy, and the guy came back there before service and he said, "This is the kind of stuff that I was saved from the bar scene." And basically kind of knocking the lyrics and the having lyrics and different motions on the screen. And it was like the Holy Ghost hit me, and I just kind of in a nice way said, the children of Israel in the wilderness, they built a tabernacle with all these materials that God told them to use. And I asked him, I said, "Where did they get those materials?" And he said, "Where did they get them?" And I said that they got them from Egypt, a type of the world. They brought the things out of Egypt to build the tabernacle to worship God. And this is in Exodus 25, it talks about that. And so it was a few days afterwards, I was talking to Pastor Carpenter about it. And he said, "Well, I'll do you one better." He said, "Where did Egypt get them?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "God made them," which was just like so awesome, blew me away. So you might get some, blowback. You don't have to go crazy, but in a modern apostolic service, this stuff, it fits, it works, it sets a mood. Again, you don't have to go crazy with strobe and flashing, but you can really, especially in praise and worship, you can set an atmosphere with your backgrounds and stuff like that. And so that's one thing I would say, is not to be afraid of that. Okay, so that's enough of that. Multimedia best practices. This is for your volunteers and your people that run your lyrics, your media, and stuff like that. This is some of the things that throughout the years that we have kind of learned that works best, especially when you're just getting started. And this will help your volunteers to or new trainees come in and pick up stuff pretty easy. First things first, always be spiritually prepared. You're about to serve in an apostolic worship service, and we need to have our heart, our mind, and body prepared to serve. So the very first thing, be early for practice. If you are running media and you're running lyrics and they're having music practice, your responsibility is to be there early, 5-10 minutes, whatever it takes. Make sure your songs are loaded, make sure the screens are on, and they're ready for practice. If they've learned a new song, get there maybe 10 minutes early, put the song in, because if they're going to learn this song, they're going to need the words, and that is your responsibility. So definitely be early for practice. Second thing is go to the prayer room. After practice is over, usually, we have 30 minutes. And the very first thing, as soon as the practice is over, we go to the prayer room, and it's the biggest thing. It's like, you cannot serve unless you are spiritually prepared. And that's one thing that is a requirement to serve on the FAC tech team is you have to go to the prayer room before you serve. Last thing is to stay engaged. If you're running multimedia, you probably have to be the most engaged person in the service. With lyrics, you need to know, hey, are we going back to the second verse? Are we going to the bridge? Are we going to end this song? We need to stay ahead and be able to stay ahead of where even the worship leader's got to go. So you have to be, again, spiritually and in the service to kind of feel where they want to go with this, with the song, and if they're going to end the song and go on to something different. So stay engaged. And then as far as preaching goes, I always tease our volunteers is, one of the best ways to stay engaged is try to figure out where pastor's going. And sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're right. But, if he's talking about a scripture that maybe he didn't give you, go ahead and look that up, have it ready to go. He may not go there, but then again, he might. So be early for practice, go to the prayer room, and definitely stay engaged in the service. Another best practice for your team, you want to have a great a default screen or a logo screen. The first thing that your guests will see or people see when they come in will be this screen, whether it's your logo. We have kind of defaulted to this welcome home screen, which basically as soon as they walk in, they see welcome home. Guests have said, that's exactly right. We feel at home. Because we always say that we're the friendliest church in town. We always have someone come and shake their hand, and they said they really do feel at home. So make sure your default logo screen is up. If you're not running announcements, make sure it's not too busy. Your composition matters. Like the FAC, there's so much, basically they call it white space. Your eye is it's not filling the screen. You have a lot of room to look, and it's comfortable. Same with the composition, welcome home is the first thing, and then First Apostolic Church. It gives you a visual hierarchy of where you want the eye to go. This is just crazy. You can throw the backgrounds, you can throw whatever, but if they can't read it, it's going to be, again, too much is too much. Read the documentation for your presentation software and watch the tutorials. Whether you're using PowerPoint or ProPresenter or any kind of software, make sure you keep up to date with what the software can do and don't just try to wing it. I worked in tech support before, and one of the things is, read the manual. Read the manual first and then try to figure it out. So I guarantee you there's tutorials, there is documentation on the software, the computer programs you're using. If you're going to serve in media, you have to know the software. One of the prerequisites for running media at FAC is they have to go through all the tutorials for ProPresenter and learn ProPresenter before we will even stick them on it, just to make sure that they've seen and gone through it. Am I going too fast?
I think you're good.
Okay, good.
So far, so good.
So choose the right images or you could ruin the service. This is very, very important. If you are creating a tile for the sermon, a good image or a bad image could make the service or it could break the service. There's more chance it will break the service. First thing is pay attention to the details of the image. And what do I mean by that is before we've picked an image of, say, he's talking about reaching the lost, and we picked an image that had a city street. Well, in the background there's graffiti with some words that you probably don't want to throw on your screen. So pay attention if you're Google searching an image to use as a background for your sermon tile. Make sure there's nothing in it that will get you in trouble. Choose an image that communicates the message of the sermon. If it's a message, a convicting message, maybe don't have a flower or sunshine. Try to stay with the mood of what the sermon's going to be. Don't give the ending away. If pastors told you, hey, this is my sermon, this is where I'm going, and he's going to turn the corner some way, don't give that ending away, because that'll just ruin it for Pastor. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. If you can't find a good image, if you can't make a good tile, then go to your logo screen. A bad image is worse than having, having a bad image is worse than not having anything at all. Throw your logo up there and just, ride it out, let the sermon go. It won't be distracting. But if you have something bad, again, it could ruin the service. Biggest thing is just, be careful. The way that we had to do sermon tiles in the past, the same computer that was running lyrics and scriptures is the same computer we're designing on. So if you're got a Google box open and you move your screen over and you have all your image searching on the main screen, which has happened to me before, again, needless to say, is very distracting. Know, organize, and understand your fonts. This is huge. So one of the biggest things I see that has slowed down a lot of tech teams' computer is having thousands of fonts. It's not really necessary. Pick 5 to 10 really good fonts and just stick with those and design with those. And organize them. Know where they are. There are some really good font organization programs out there. I use one called Suitcase, and what it does is it will actually deactivate the font until you need it or want it, and you can kind of scroll through and see what your fonts are. Understand your fonts and typography. Understand that a monospaced font is probably not the best one to use for lyrics, just because it's stretched, it's hard to read with your eye, it looks bad. So know what works. Again, this is something about getting there early. If you put a song in and you want to do emphasis, use a different font. Know what fonts work and which fonts don't. Here's like an example. So the one on the left right here, this is our main font that we use. It's called Gotham Bold Condensed. And it's easy to read on the screen. It's condensed, so it doesn't take up the whole page. And it's bold enough that you can make it out from a distance. This one over here is just Helvetica. It's okay, but it just kind of looks thrown in there. It's big, it's large. It's not really necessary to be large. So pick a font that will complement how you're projecting. This is huge. Check your spelling and grammar. In a 2019 church with internet access, no word should ever be misspelled. This is huge, and I'm the worst speller in the world. Brother Spencer, you probably know that. You've seen some of my stuff I've designed. I'm the worst speller. That's why they have these little red marks up here. Will tell you, hey, this is misspelled. So the red jaggies are always your friend. Most modern software now, if you've misspelled a word, will throw a little red jagged line at the bottom. Right click and it'll give you the word you're trying to spell. Get a second set of eyes. This is huge. There's nothing worse than putting in a new song and you're in the middle of worship service and you raise your hand and you look up to the screen and there's a misspelled word. It totally ruins a song. It takes you out of worship. So before service, you're there early anyways, get a second set of eyes to come and look at the new song you've put in. Just learn basic grammar. There are several books, resources that you can get online that will help you. There's one that I use called Grammarly, and not only does it help with spelling, but it also helps with punctuation and the flow of a sentence. So that's some things you can avail yourself to, and that Grammarly is free. It's really cool. Keep up to date with and organize bookmarks. So a lot of times, especially back in the day with Pastor, is we would not get scriptures, we wouldn't get titles until he said them from the pulpit. So a lot of times we're scrambling to try to come up with a tile or an image that would be good for throwing up there. So we keep in our bookmarks font resources, Smashing Magazine, thefont.com, myfonts.com, Font Squirrel. These are free font places, some paid, that will show you, hey, these are good fonts to use, and a link to download them. A big question I get is, where do I get my backgrounds, textures, resources? There's been some that have come and gone. Creation Swap is huge. They have a lot of free resources that you can use, but also they have a paid subscription to where you can go in and download anything and everything that you want. For GMC and for Strong Tower Youth Camp, pretty much all of my backgrounds came from Creation Swap. If you're running a triple wide set where you got 3 projectors, Triple Wide Media has some really good backgrounds that's formatted for a triple wide screen. They also have the double wide version, but that's a really good resource to use. Recommended reading and inspiration. A lot of times, if you get thrown something on the fly, you're not feeling very creative. Dribbble.com, Behance, sites like these are designers that upload their stuff. You can go and get inspiration. You can search for basically anything, and we'll give you just something to get your creative juices flowing. Keep an archive of your source files to reuse later. Again, this makes designing on the fly easy. It also helps your media personnel learn the ropes. So if you have new volunteers coming in that are running media and needing to make tiles, if you have a resource of stuff you've already done, we have a source file. And this is our announcement source file, but also some for scriptures. And here's kind of an example. These 3 tiles were made from pretty much the same file. The Friendship Sunday was the original, and then based on that, the other 2 were created within 5 minutes. The background, we just changed the color, changed the font, and you're good to go. So again, if you can get a little organized on the front end, it will save you a ton of time and headache on the back end for sure. Be proactive in collecting your service information. Thousands of lives definitely depend on it. Get your information early. This is kind of a big thing, and it is your responsibility if you're running media. Go to pastor, text pastor, call pastor, and tell them that, hey, we need your title and we need your scriptures. That doesn't guarantee you're going to get them, but once he will learn to expect you coming. And so that's one thing we tell our team, get it from them early. One thing that FAC has implemented, though, is we now have a service director. And I think the service director would be good for small churches and large churches. This person is responsible for getting that information for your media team. They're also responsible if there's any song changes, if there's any announcements, if there's any babies that they're going to announce. It's their responsibility to go and get that information. So having a service director, they're telling the sound man, hey, Sister Lori has a solo coming up, or the drums have a solo, or there's a guitar solo to the sound man. They're all communicating, and it just makes for a better service. It makes, once everyone's communicating, it's really a great thing. So definitely try to get the information that you can. This is a big thing. Know and work your resolution. One of the biggest things that I see when if I go to a church and they're asking me, hey, how can we improve? My computer's really slow. Most projectors, their native resolution, probably now newer ones, are 720p. Some are 1080p, but most of them are 720p. Everything that FAC does, from their video cameras to our web streaming to media and all that, we're still just doing it 720p. And that is important because you're not pushing out. Some people try to do it at 1080p, but it's pushing out twice the pixels, but no one sitting that far away from the screen can tell that it's between 720 and 1080. Like most people, they come to our church and they ask what we're doing. We're like, hey, this is 720p. They can't believe it. But it's just how far away, and they're unnecessarily using resources on their computer. It could cause it to crash. So just know what your projector or your TV is running and run that native resolution. Another thing is when you're getting pictures to use for that, if you're doing a Google search for some images and you've got something that's 240 pixels wide, but your screen's 1280 pixels wide. If you stretch it, it's going to look pixelated. It's going to look bad. So beforehand, know what you are using, know the equipment you have, and that will again save you a lot of headache in the long run. Any questions about that? Did I go too fast?
Be sure to turn your mic on. You probably have them muted, so if you want to ask a question, turn your mic on.
Hey, Brother McBroom, that website you said for like just creating things on the fly, what was the name of that website? Like to get inspiration where people, they drop off their stuff that they've done?
Dribbble.com, and that's with 3. And then
3 B's?
Yes, sir. And then Behance.
Dribbble.com.
Yep. Behance and Dribbble.com. Behance is more of a portfolio site. You can go in there and search for sermon tiles or just any kind of subject to kind of give you an idea of what if there's a certain subject or whatever. But it's just really good to bring inspiration to you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we're right here. Actually, I'm glad you're teaching this tonight. This is right where we're at as a church. This is our next step, getting to this phase of internet, and we're trying to set up our website and everything. We got a website. This is exactly what we need, just kind of some ideas on how to structure it, blah, blah, blah. So I appreciate what you're doing tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, if you have any questions, call me or text me, and I'd love to push you in the right direction.
Will do.
All right. Any other questions before I move on to upgrading on a budget? All right. So most churches are not rolling with $1 million budgets. FAC definitely isn't. And we've learned to kind of get by with the least possible. And it's definitely possible to do that, especially with the way the technology is now. There's no reason to blow the bank and still have something that looks good. So one of the most important questions people ask is, what's the most important spec we're looking for a computer? We want to upgrade. We've been using the same PC for 10 years. It's slow. It's Windows 95. What am I looking for? The biggest spec that you want to look for is RAM. RAM is, and I don't want to talk down to anyone, but the way that I learned, the way that they said it to me is RAM is basically you have a desk, and RAM is how big your desk is. So if you have a bigger desk, you can do more things at one time. And that's what RAM allows you to do. So, if you're running Photoshop to design something, you're running ProPresenter to throw your lyrics up there, you're running Safari to try to find images to use or videos. RAM will allow you to run more things at the same time. Once you run out of RAM, it's going to stop one and go to another. It could cause crashing. So RAM is the biggest thing. And especially on modern computers, if you're getting a laptop or an iMac or an all-in-one, stuff like that, a lot of the RAM is it's not upgradable. So what you get at the time is what you're stuck with. So RAM's number one. Your hard drive is number two. The biggest bottleneck right now as far as computers go is your hard drive. Most computers still are running what's called, it's just a spinning hard drive. There's a platter in there that spins with a reader on it that reads all the information on it. The faster it spins, the more information, the faster it can get that information off. The newest thing is a solid state drive. There's no moving parts. It's super, super fast and super, super reliable. And the price just in the last year has probably dropped 50% on SSDs. Like you can get a 512 gigabyte SSD drive for, $60-70 on Amazon. And like I said, they're super reliable and they're super fast. I've taken a ton of 2010, 2011 MacBook Pros, put an SSD in, and it springs new life into it. It's really, really great, especially since the prices come down. And then the third thing would be the processor. RAM number one, hard drive, go with an SSD for sure, and then processor. Most processors now between an i5 and an i7. The i7 processor, if you're going to do any kind of webcasting, any kind of HD video, your i7 is going to be your best bet. It's the most powerful. It's way more powerful than an i5. And just to kind of give you an example, our webcast computer right now is the 2013 iMac with an i7 processor. We were needing to move a computer around, and so we decided, hey, let's just upgrade our webcast computer. And so we got a 2017 i5. Well, hey, this is 4 years newer, the i5 versus the i7. The i5 in the 2017 was slower than the 2013 i7. So processor, especially when you're doing HD video, it matters. So if you're looking for something, you definitely want an i7 processor. So Windows or Mac, that's the big debate. Which one should I go with? The answer here is go with the one that you're most comfortable with, or go with the one that your volunteers are most comfortable with. I lean towards the Mac side just because it for me, it just works. I'll go back to that. So why Mac? One, there's no viruses. Windows, riddled with viruses. Macs, they don't get viruses. And I know a lot of people that have Windows that have never got a virus. You know, that's great. I've had Macs since 2000, never ran any kind of virus protection software, and I've never got a virus. That doesn't mean you can be stupid, though. If you click on a website, you're trying to download pirated software, stuff like that. There are things like if you give it permission to, it can do stuff to mess up your day. But if you're doing, again, just normal what you're supposed to do, you're going to be fine. Macs hold their value. My first Mac that I bought was in 2000 when I went to college, and I think I spent $1,400 for it. And I sold it like 9 years later for like $700. Why do they hold their value? Is most of them are using the best parts available at the time. The current Mac OS operating system will run on a 2012 computer. You're talking almost 8 years old. I tell people try to run Windows 10 on anything older than 3 years, and it's like impossible. So they definitely hold their value. Last thing is they just work. When you're in a production environment or a service environment where you need it to work, we need those lyrics up, we need the scriptures up, we need the announcements running. We can't deal with something going wrong. You can't go wrong with a Mac because they're solid. They just work. Going back, is if you do go with a Mac, what are my options? I have a budget. Do I buy new? I don't think in the 10 years that I've been involved with buying computers for FAC that we've ever bought a new Mac. Everything's either been refurbished or used. A good thing about going refurbished is you can save a ton of money that way. If you go through Apple refurbished, they will, most of the time it's just something that someone has brought back, not anything they've had an issue with, but they go through this 7-step process of every single component of that computer before they sell it. So the refurbished is actually a little bit more chance of nothing going wrong than if you buy a new one. But your sweet spot is buying used. And I would recommend everyone buy used, especially if they're getting a Mac. All Macs since 2010 have a built-in hardware checker. So like if I've bought something off Craigslist or bought something off of Facebook Marketplace, you can go in, boot the computer, hold down R, and it will pop up into a system hardware check. Takes about 3 or 4 minutes to run through everything, and it'll pop up and say, hey, this component's bad, or the system checks out fine. So you kind of have more peace of mind buying used because you can go through this hardware checker. And again, we've not seen any issues of anything that we've bought as far as used goes. And as far as like FAC, our media computer right now is a 2012 Mac Mini. Our, like I said, our webcast computer is a 2013 iMac. We have another for our Spanish media and webcasting. It's a 2012. The newest computer that we have that we're using is a 2017 iMac, and that's just something that's used, all of our graphics and everything's go to. And 2013 would have been fine, but we just needed a different computer, and we found a really good deal on it. So you don't have to buy new, you don't have to break the bank, and you can usually find good deals, especially around now because people are going back to school, they're upgrading, they're wanting to get something new. So again, that's just something to think about. And I don't care to kind of help you and push you all in the right direction if you all are wanting to upgrade, look for something in your area, some good deals. Went through iMac. So if you do go Mac, you got three options. You can go with a MacBook Pro, you can do an iMac, or you can do a Mac Mini. Again, our media right now is a Mac Mini. It's a little 6x6 inch box that has an HDMI port on the back, and it has a mini display port. So it does everything we need it to do. It's fast, it's quiet, it doesn't run very hot, and it does everything we need to do for it. Again, it's 2012, it's almost 8 years old, and it's running great. I would suggest for smaller churches, an iMac would be good. You can get a big screen. It's got plenty of outputs on the back. I think it has 2 mini display ports if you get a 2012 or later. So you can run stage display for lyrics on the back wall, and your main and everything is just, it's just in there. It works. Again, it's quiet, it's fast, it's reliable, and it looks good. But kind of your sweet spot might be a laptop, going with a MacBook Pro, just because every one of them since 2012 already have an SSD in them. And they're thin, they're quiet, and they all have an i7 as well, the processor I was talking about. For GMC and Strong Tower, all of those services were streamed using my 2012 MacBook Pro. So again, it's not anything, again, almost 8 years old, and it runs just fine. You could probably find a Mac Mini used at 2012 variant anywhere between $300 and $500. With an iMac, you're probably in the $500 to $800 range. And then again, with the MacBook Pro, you're probably, in the $600 to $900, just depending on the year and the condition. So each of these can be had with plenty of power for under $1,000. One of the biggest things and one of the greatest things that has come out in the last few years is HDMI over Cat6. At conferences and even at FAC, we've run several of our projectors, our TV screens. This will allow you to, we used to run these huge HDMI cables that were hard to bend, and if you bent it, it broke. You could only go 100 feet with it. With Cat6 and these converters, you can go up to 320 feet. And that's what we did when we were in our gym before we moved over. We ran Cat6 all the way from the back of the gym over around the truss and around 320 feet, and it just worked. It's great. It's easy. You can get 1,000 feet of Cat6 for less than $100. If you run 2 or 3 lines, you can run your lights off of it. You can run, again, HDMI. You can hook your IR up to it, so you can turn on your projectors back where you have your computer instead of having to reach up and trying to get it just right. These things are great, and I think this right here is a $70 system. It's really changed the industry. Like at GMC and at Strong Tower, all of our TVs that run stage display were all Cat6 with these HDMI converters, and it makes it really, really great. They're reliable. Again, it's cheap, and the distance you can run with it is really great. As far as your presentation software goes, ProPresenter is the de facto standard, especially if you have a Mac. probably 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, the only game in town was Windows software. It was Easy Worship or Church of You. And we had a lot of churches that, because of the reliability of a Mac, wanted to use Mac. And Easy Worship, Church of You, all these guys, they wouldn't basically speak to that market. So the guys at ProPresenter were basically Mac developers that were needed something for their church. So they built their own software, and it blew the industry away. It's easy to use, it's reliable, and not just churches are using it now. A lot of concert venues, stadiums, they use it for their jumbotrons and stuff like that. It is a little bit pricey. It's $4.99 for a one license. If you have one computer, or it's $7.99 for a campus license. And what the campus license allows you to do is, if you have a kids church, if you have a student sanctuary, you can load it on as many computers as you want, which is actually really nice. One of the things that we do is, with our volunteers, our new volunteers, we'll load it up on their computer and allow them to train at home while they're watching the training videos, just to kind of get used to it. But ProPresenter, it again, is the de facto standard. It's very reliable. It runs really great. In this last year, this Worship Extreme software has come out. It's free. They do have a subscription that you can buy into that has some more advanced features if you need them. But for the basic functionality, scriptures, lyrics, announcements, stuff like that, Worship Extreme is free, and it does. I've heard some really good things about it. I've not used it because we've always used ProPresenter, but churches that are maybe they want to wait on ProPresenter because it's $500 and they want to get their computer software in there first. Worship Extreme is definitely an avenue they can explore. Some resources for buying stuff. Monoprice.com will save your life. All of the cables and HDMI cables and Cat6, that converter that I just showed you earlier, Monoprice is inexpensive but high quality technical equipment. Most of the stuff that we use at GMC and Strong Tower, and even stuff that we put into our new church building, has come from Monoprice. You cannot beat it as far as the price goes, and I think they have a warehouse in California, and they also have one in Michigan, I believe. So it can get to you pretty quick wherever you're at. But definitely check them out. Mac Sales. If you're going to upgrade your RAM, even if you want to buy a used computer that comes with maybe a warranty, I buy all of my RAM, and all the computers that we bought for our computer lab at Apostolic Christian Academy came from Mac Sales, and we didn't have a problem with one of them. And of course, Amazon.com has really good stuff, but also has some knockoff stuff too, so you might want to be careful. But a lot of places will match Amazon's pricing. So like if I've needed a cable or something, and all that's there is Target, I'll go into Target, I'll get the cable, and I'll have to match Amazon's prices. So that's kind of the great thing with Amazon there. All right, so questions. I know I've went through quite a bit, and I've had a lot of information. What questions do y'all have?
Great information, Dale. I'll tell you, that's really awesome stuff. I'm not into the media side, on the technical side of doing it, but I am on the side of understanding the value of it, especially for guests, and just to set the whole environment of the service. When it's done professionally, it makes all the difference in the world. And I've been in churches where it's not so professional, and they may not realize it, but it sends the wrong message. And so this is something to me that churches really, really need to be very, very aware of. Use your most trained people. Use any kind of training videos you can. You can hear what Dale is saying here as far as how inexpensively you can do it, even to the point of free presentation software to use for a while until you come up to speed. So cost, it sounds to me like cost shouldn't even be an issue with the way that Dale is explaining it here. But I will tell you, it really does make all the difference in the world, especially setting that pre-service atmosphere. I wish that I would have caught you ahead of time, Dale. I didn't even think about it, but I would love them to see what we run. I don't know if it starts at 2 minutes before the service begins or whatever, that just raises the excitement and anticipation level of the service starting that we do at FAC. You know what I'm talking about? That was it a 2-minute, 3-minute warning, whatever it is. You don't happen to have that, do you?
Let me see if I can grab it real quick. I'll play it for you. Hopefully it'll play after this.
But this is the kind of thing that, just absolutely draws people back into the sanctuary from the coffee shop, from, milling around in the lobbies and this kind of stuff, and just gets them ready for the service to begin. Everything we do is done with intentionality at FAC. Everything that's done is done for a reason. And this is one of those things that is really tremendous to me.
Play this really quick.
And this is on our, we've got the dual jumbo screens. Yeah, here it is, 3 minutes. Okay, just take 3 minutes and do this. You can picture this just all over the entire complex, this going on, and you know what's happening.
I don't know if it'll let me play a video over this. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. If whether Zoom will let you play a video, I got you. It should. But the impact is much greater when it's loud and it's on those jumbo screens.
And it just gives them something to they kind of know what's about to happen.
Right, that's the whole point.
And it doesn't have to be live video. You can maybe throw some just pictures of your service or the kind of music that they're about to hear. It kind of sets the mood for Music sounds kind of funky on here, but it really is powerful and has a great impact leading right into the opening of the worship service. And then it starts immediately. Yeah, and it's awesome. And the other thing that I like, that a lot of it is enhanced with the media that Dale is talking about. There's zero time between every transition in the service. I don't care if it's the end of praise to the beginning of taking the offering to the praise singers coming on and singing. There's no downtime at all. Everything is totally pre-planned, the service order, everything coordinated with the media.
and absolutely no downtime. The transitions are just wonderful. And all those things matter, folks. I will tell you, they greatly make a difference in the service and the tempo and the spirit of a service. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt everything, but any questions, go ahead, please. Feel free to ask Dale. He gave a wealth of information.
I was gonna say that's what kind of, that's where the service director comes in, because they are kind of behind the scenes, pulling everything together. Again, where's this announcement? Where's this song? What's going to happen? And they're always communicating, talking. So I think a service director would definitely be something good to add to your service.
Who is our service director?
We have four actually. My wife actually is one. Rachel, Alicia McCarter is another, and then Samantha Johnson, and then Lisa McFadden. So we have four that alternate through.
Okay.
And they're all time talking to Sister Erickson through her talk back or whatever. So like if you have a talk back system with your monitors, and give someone a microphone if they need to communicate with the sound man, that's a really good way to do it too.
Gotcha. If you have anything for Dale, just be sure to turn your mic on.
Guys, if you don't mind, since we're talking about media and such, if you don't mind, if you don't want to, that's totally fine, Brother Art. That's totally fine. We just launched our website. We're still in the process of working on it. But would it be, since you were able to do that, would it be possible, if you don't mind, maybe just pulling it up and critiquing it, seeing if maybe there's some pointers you can give me right away, just off of what you guys think? I'd love that, because we're trying to figure out what direction to take with it. Is that something you can do? Just pull it up and put it and say, hey, think about this or that?
Sure. Yeah. What's your website?
mychurchdaytona.com. Is that okay, Brother Art? I mean, you don't mind for a minute just take a look at it?
There's no other questions right now from anybody. Is this okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right with me. I mean, as long as everybody else doesn't mind.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. If someone else wants to talk, I mean, definitely, please. I totally understand.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
See if I can get back to the screen share.
Are you able to bring that?
I don't know.
Let's see if I can bring it here.
Yeah, and just feel free to critique it, because again, we just launched it. This is through a website designer for $400. We paid $400, and we can get up to 20 pages on there. But again, we're just trying to learn how to put media on there. We're trying to learn how to get our sermons on there. So it's so new. I haven't even told anyone on Facebook to look it up yet. I'm not even on Google yet. That's how new it is.
That's a nice shot of the church from your balcony there. That's a nice shot of the church.
Is it welcoming? I mean, do you think as a visitor or first-time guest, I mean, you let me know your feeling on these things,
I mean, I can only give you just, my opinion. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. To me, it's very, very impressive. Knowing your church and so forth looks very impressive to me. Dale, I don't know what. Go ahead.
I'll say two things. One, it's very good. It's very clean. Information is there. It loads really fast. One of the biggest things too, I believe 65% now of websites are viewed from a mobile device, and you can tell with this one it's responsive. So it basically will size to whatever screen you have, and so that's very important. If it's not responsive or doesn't look good on mobile, a lot of people won't even go to it. In my opinion on websites, especially church websites, and some people may disagree, but in my opinion, I think that a website should be for a church website is for information primarily. Hey, people come there, they want to know what hours and how to get there, and maybe how to contact, and that's it. The biggest resource I think that churches could take really like with announcements and engaging is Facebook. Definitely social media is a huge part of that. But you also have to have a web presence, and this checks all the boxes. I mean, it has, very first thing, I think it's your second slide, is your service time. Okay, welcome to Pentecost. They know what the church looks like when they get there. It's not surprising. It's very clean. It's not There's no clutter. Again, you can see when your service times are. I like it. It's very nice.
Yeah, and let me just say this, and everything that I have studied regarding websites and the purpose of websites for churches are for guests. They're not for the saints. And I think that's what Dale is getting at. They're not for the saints. So it should not be filled with a lot of church lingo. It should be very plain language to the people that are going on the website. Very simple, very easy to find.
If you don't mind,
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Brother McBroom, if you'll tap on the About Us button, there's an About Us that kind of shows a little bit about us in particular. There's like, if you scroll down, you'll see in the middle there, About Us. There we go. And this is something simple. I mean, Brother Art, what do you think? I mean, is that simple to the point, just kind of hitting the visitor, not too much church lingo?
Picture of the redone lobby, the foyer, man. I'm so glad you did that. It looks excellent, man. Yeah, that's that redone lobby. What a great job. It looks beautiful. Yeah,
it's very close to ours.
I like it.
About is very simple, and it shows, you know, what we believe is, I think, kind of the only difference. And we just call it new to FAC, but it's
nice.
It's just very very clean, just like yours. You know, it's not a lot of text,
Yeah.
and like Brother Snitzer said, it's not a lot of church lingo. So
the idea for me was to get them within 30 seconds, 60 seconds. They have a good picture of who we are. This is kind of who they are. You know, as you can see there, very simple. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to get my sermons loaded on there, so that way they can see a little bit of flavor of our preaching. And what I want to do is maybe have a couple of videos of some testimonies of some families in the church, of just what God has done. You know, just simple things. You know. Nothing too churchy, but, you know, hey, you know, in such and such time we came to this church, and, you know, since then the Lord's been really good to us. We've had blessings, such a good family and environment to be a part of. I mean, is that the right lines to think, you know, in doing something like that?
Yeah, in my opinion. Dale, you go ahead, and I want to say something to Brother Rodriguez. Go ahead, make your comment, Dale.
No, absolutely. And again, one of the biggest things that I try to tell people is take advantage of the real estate that you own. And what I mean by that is a lot of people say, hey, we're saving up to get a billboard in town, or we're saving up to run an ad in the paper. In the past, yes, maybe, but now, you know, you own your Facebook page, you own your YouTube page. Add those YouTube videos very easily to this page, and allow people to see who you are and what you are. The biggest thing I would say about it, though, is just to make sure that you don't have to spend a ton of money anyways. Use your iPhone, but, you know, shoot it in this direction, you know, instead of like this, so it fills the screen, looks nice. There's a few videos you can watch on how to film a video, kind of best practices, and you can easily, without, again, using the phone that you have, make a really nice professional video. And I think it's great.
Brother Rodriguez, what I was going to say was, as far as different things that is good to put on a website, man, you need to bring your camera and record everything. When you guys are having a work day, when you're having any kind of sessions at the church, I mean, be taking recording, putting up the engagement of the saints, and even making comments about it. Say, hey, here's this group that did so much for us. We want to honor them. We thank you so much for what you did. You know, most staffs are volunteer staffs, and so we want to just highlight those things and make them know that they're a part of the church and how much it's appreciated what they're doing, and it helps to engage other people. Especially when they're making it look like fun, like they're having a good time together. Even if it's an outing,
you bring a good point. Maybe even the coffee shop in the morning, because now we're starting to have good crowds there.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea. I could put a good picture of that, the whole foyer.
Join us for coffee this week, you know, that kind of thing. You
That's
know,
a great idea. Love it. Appreciate that.
We have a team. I think we have 3 young people that, you know, like I'm 40 years old, you know, and I'm kind of on the tail end of social media. But we have 3 young people that live and breathe social media, and they know what to do. So we give them a phone or give them a camera, and like, not distracting, but during church, they'll go and they'll shoot some photos and they'll upload it to YouTube and say, hey, you know, come join us. Or, you know, hey, we're just a picture of a pastor preaching, or just a Instagram story of a praise and worship session. You know, and that's been one of our biggest engagements. Like our full services that we live stream, they hardly get any views afterwards. But we'll go through and we'll cut that up and throw a 2-minute clip of a choir song or a praise and worship set, and it blows up in views. So we'll get 1,000 views in just no time at all, because it's not something I have to sit there and watch, but it's interesting. So stuff like that, take a picture of them having coffee, interview someone, just something funny, but that's a great way to use your youth, because again, they live and breathe this stuff, and they would love to do it.
It's a great idea. Appreciate that. Definitely. I'm writing these ideas down, man. I appreciate this. Guys, this is good stuff for us. And like I said, our idea is, because everyone, when you're looking for something, the first thing you reach for is your phone. You go right to Google, what's the closest restaurant near me? What's the closest church or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely essential.
And this is what I want them to find, is I want them in 30 seconds. My vision is in 30 seconds, you should have somewhat of an idea about us as to who we are. If you can get that in 30 seconds, because really, if we're not interested in 30 seconds, we tune out, we turn into something else. We look for something else. So that was the idea behind this design here, is can I hook them within the 30 seconds and say, okay, this is a picture of the church, this is the things we do, this is our vision, and now the idea is to have maybe some videos, some testimonies, maybe a little bit of preaching if I can weave that in there, so that way they get like a full flavor as to what we're about.
Yeah, absolutely. You're on the right track for sure. And like I said,
appreciate that.
It looks, you can bring it down to phone size, and everything's on the one page. They can read it and they know it and they're done. It's not a book, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too here is I can go up to 20 pages. I can have 20 different selections with this template that they gave me, which is tremendous. So even if I want to go deeper, if I want to put on a whole new page of just nothing but words of wisdom for the week, little sermonettes for the week, Bible studies, I can have all these pages that you can go up to 20 different pages. So there's a lot of room to grow. This is also set for social live streaming as well. That's all set. If I had those HD cameras, this is ready to put it right on there, and I can jump right in, just log right in. It's ready to go. So it's built for today.
Brother Rodriguez, give everybody so that we have. In fact, I'm going to get everybody that's here will take advantage of it. I turned the recording off, but give them the company or whatever it is that's doing that. I mean, you can't beat that for $400, man. That is incredible.
Yeah, $400.
Give them the name right now, so the ones that are listening have that information.
Sure. If you guys are writing down, it's the website is kingdom.com. Kingdom.com. And it's and if you want, use our name if you don't mind, the Pentecostals of Daytona, and they'll actually give us perks for that. Now you can do what's called a bulletin board website, where it's just one page and you can have several pictures. That's only, I think, $200 to design for you. And they set the whole thing up. You give them the pictures and they send you templates as to what you like. There's different styles you can choose. This one here is up to 20 pages for $400. And there is a hosting fee, I want to say, of like $25 a month if you manage it yourself, or you can have them manage it for $50 a month. I'm managing it myself because it's easy to take care of. But kingdom.com, and you'll see they have people there that set things up, and they build it for you. Now, I will tell you this, they are overwhelmed with a lot of business because that's a steal of a deal. So you got to kind of be patient with them. Sometimes they take too long for me, but I'm a winner. I always like to get things done yesterday. So, I'm a pusher. That's the way I am. So, that's just me. But just be advised, it will take a couple of months to get everything finalized. But these guys are good too. They're techs. They call you up. They check on you to see how you're doing. And I did get a free Google upgrade, the SEO, search engine, whatever that is. They gave me that for free, which was a $300 upgrade. They told me. I don't know if that is or not, but they gave me that as well. But that takes more time. So again, ours was simple. I did because not everyone can spell apostolic. So I didn't want to put Apostolic Church Daytona. So I just put My Church Daytona with the name of the city. You can spell my, you can spell church, and you can spell Daytona. So that just kind of made it homey type feel, because not everyone can spell Pentecostal. Not everyone can spell apostolic. So rather than giving them a spelling lesson on how to find the website, that's why I went for that. In fact, our daycare is a bulletin board website, and it's mydaycaredaytona.com. So
Okay.
it's very easy. Everything connected is whatever it is, the ministry and Daytona, which is
Okay.
very, very simple.
That's the reason.
Anybody else have any comments, questions, anything they want to discuss or ask or anything while we're having this session and Dale's here? Please feel free to jump in. Just turn your mic on so we can hear you.
I did have one comment, I guess, slash question. The comment, we just went to using the Behringer XR18, so mixer. I know this is on media, but it runs off the iPad, so it's just tons of features and technology, and we love it. And I'm the biggest limitation for it. It does a lot of different things. So if you're in the market for something like that, we caught it on sale for about $400. So super easy to use, super easy to learn. There's tons of YouTube tutorials. But my question is for Brother McBroom, as far as recording our services, we've been doing that for a couple of weeks now with iPhone. Is there a way to get the audio out of that mixer straight to the iPhone? So right now we have a lot of bleed over from the congregation and any noise it picks up. Is there a way we can get it from our PA system or from our mixer straight to the phone? Do you know of a simple way to do that?
Yeah, there's a couple of solutions, and they're not that expensive. Like on Amazon, it's an XLR on one end, and then it's the I think they call it a TPS. It's the three. It's just an eighth inch, but it's got the three spots on it. So it goes into the headphone jack on the one, and then the other goes into the XLR, and it will send your soundboard audio directly to it. I can look up that and send you a link to that.
Okay, great. Yeah, good deal. Thank you.
Yep.
That might be good for you too, Brother Rodriguez, if you're having that problem, if you're recording with that. Sounds like
Hey,
something.
I tell you what, that Behringer board that he's talking about, again, Shannon Ellard, he runs GMC and Strong Tower, and just off of that Behringer board. It's very powerful and very easy to use for sure.
Yeah, we actually set up a click track for musicians with it because it has, I think it's 8 or 10 different outputs. So we were able to give each designated channel, we mix it, and we use Loop Community or Prime for our multi-tracks. And so our piano player, he has the click and cues in his ear, and we can set his mix. So one person playing the piano, they may have only the lead singer and the click and cues. One might have the whole house mix. So it's super. If I can figure it out, anybody can. It's super user friendly, 100% customizable. Like I said, the greatest limitation to it right now is myself because I don't know very much about it. But it is really, really. It was the best $400 we've spent, hands down.
Here's one of the solutions. It's basically, again, it's just XLR, and then it just goes to actually this one goes to Lightning, so that might actually be better if you have a newer iPhone that doesn't have a headphone port.
Okay. Does that have any kind of limitations on the distance?
I think I don't know, but I would assume as far as an XLR signal will go that it'll work.
Okay.
With that.
Okay.
But I have heard of this one for if you have a phone that doesn't have the headphone jack.
Okay.
Gail, you're the man.
And I might have to come back. I might invite myself back, Brother Sitzer, but maybe to do like a webcasting training, just to kind of show you what we do. And
Absolutely. We'll set that up, Dale. And I want every kind of a helpful resource we can have on here. And like I say, your information is just awesome. You did a great job. Very, very, very informative, very, very helpful. And I'm really going to promote this on our Facebook page for everybody to kind of get into the archive there and listen to this and then be ready for your next one.
Cool. Yeah. And I think I did, and I'll see if I'll send it to you, but since you can add it to the website. But I did an article in the Witness about setting up streaming and getting started. I'll find that too, just to kind of, until the next time get.
Yeah, for sure. Pull that up, and I can put that on the resource thing also. Then, yeah, just send me that.
Cool.
We'll get it up there. Any other questions? Anything? Anybody that anything Dale can help you with right now before we cut out here? We went a little extended tonight, but the information was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Enjoyed seeing your website there, Brother Rodriguez. That is awesome. You guys are doing great. That's going to make it, man. I'm telling you. You guys are going gangbusters between that new foyer, the coffee shop, now the website. I'm telling you, I'm excited for you, man.
We're pushing hard, man. We're pushing so hard, and we're burning the candle on 3 ends. I found an extra end to burn the candle on, so. But I'll have time to rest when I'm dead. In the meantime, we're just going to pedal to the metal. When it breaks down, fix it up, keep going, pedal to the metal. I mean,
that's what I have in my little coffee bar in the house. Coffee when you're dead. Exactly.
You know what I'm thankful for? I will say this, is that my whole family is with me, and that means the world to me. My kids are excited. My wife is excited, and, church is excited. I'm thankful for you guys, Brother McBroom, Brother Schnitzer, all the pastors here that are praying, man. This is exciting. There's so much for us to gain. We have so much to gain. And, I almost feel like it's just equivalent to those days of the Wild West and the frontier. It's out there for the taking.
Yeah.
It's out there for the taking, and let's go for it,
Yeah.
We'll figure it out as we go. We'll make mistakes along the way, but let's just go.
Yeah.
Give it your best and see where you end up,
Amen. That's what we need, is that adventure spirit. Exactly.
Well, use me as a resource for sure. All of y'all, give me, shoot me an email, text me, call me. I'd love to help y'all.
All right, we'll go ahead and end here. We'll do this again, like Dale has already thankfully and agreed to do another session for us, and I'll talk to him about that, and we'll put that together in the near future. Otherwise, our next session will probably be about 6 weeks. I've been doing these about 6 weeks apart as we view different topics, especially through the summer here, traveling a lot. Folks are traveling a lot and all. So, but God bless you all. We definitely pray for our AAC churches and all of our churches. We want to see growth. We want to see, our harvest increased, our skill levels increase, and it's an exciting time. We're in the last days of the harvest, and we need to be at our best. Amen. All right. God bless. Love you all. Thank you so much for joining us, and you'll be able to check this out again in about a week and a half when I get it up on our resource page. All right. God bless.